What is up today, guys? Today, we're finally getting back into it. As you can tell by my lack of upload, this has been a crazy month at Full Sail. I've got positive to say about it, I've got negative to say about it, and I had 2 classes this month. I have my school calendar. So I had I had historical archetypes and mythology. That's what this video is about. And I also had animation production. That is what the next video is about. Had both classes going on at the same time. It was rough. And then the fact that I've got Thanksgiving and Christmas all thrown in there too, and we had a late Thanksgiving this year. It was just a really friggin' stressful month. The workload wasn't too much, believe it or not, but it's just the amount of time that was given had to be varied because of the time of the year that it is. So right off the bat, your timing experience will probably be a lot better than I had. I would say 11 of every 12 people that go to Full Sail in different months will have this experience. So when planning when you want to go to Full Sail, I would just recommend right away, avoid having animation production and historical archetypes and mythology in the month of December, the 12th class of the year. I would say avoid. So as stated, this class is all about historical archetypes and mythology. I'm gonna shorten it and call it HAM. Low battery charger, honey. You're plugged in. Let's talk about class information. We're gonna talk about assignments, the teacher, some tips, hit the table, and then we're gonna do an in short. We're gonna get out of here, move on to the next class. Let's just get into it. Let's do this. There may or may not be anything floating up here. I don't know. I'll decide in post-production because there's no making of art in this class, and kind of saddened me a little bit. Going into this class, looking at the title, Historical Archetypes and Mythology, boom, HAM. Looking at the title of HAM, I thought that we'd be like doing a 1, maybe 2 hour lecture, learning about a mythology, learning about a myth, and then maybe doing some sort of artwork based on that myth. I was dead wrong. There's nothing like that. This is straight up a reading and writing class. That's all this is. You kiss. So if you're looking forward to that, awesome. I wasn't looking forward to it. I've never been great at like reading and reading comprehension, and my writing has always been more dialogue-like rather than a fancy pants writer. I wasn't looking forward to this class once I heard that. So that's just one thing to know going into this, you know, with the class information. So yeah, lectures are weird. It's like some weeks you had a lecture and some weeks you didn't. It just kind of depended on what the course was like. Sometimes your discussion was due Thursday, sometimes it's due Sunday. It's all over the place, really. That's kind of all I can say. Reading and writing, 11 assignments throughout the month. There is an extra credit opportunity, but it's at the end. There are tests in this class, know that. And other than that, you're just reading and writing. And I believe it was like, wasn't it the course overview? Yeah, in the community discussion or whatever. Before even starting the class, some people were like, oh, finally, a reading and writing class. Oh, finally, we get a break from doing art. And I'm like, not to be mean, but I don't understand why you're at Full Sail then. Because I feel like to be at Full Sail, to be having this big of a time commitment and this big of a financial commitment, that's for sure. I feel like you don't have to only want to do art, but I feel like if you're excited to have something that's not art, you know what I mean? I wasn't thrilled when I saw that this class had no art in it. Literature, that's an art, I guess, but reading and writing, I want hands-on art. That's what I want. I want to make something. I want to draw something. I don't want to type up something. So it is what it is. That's just some basic class information you should know going into this. Let's really start talking about some assignments. I may reference this from time to time throughout this video and the next. We will be looking at the blue. Week 1 for me was during Thanksgiving week. It was not the most fun week, and that's because, you know, start the class Monday, Thanksgiving is Thursday, Black Friday is Friday, who knew? And then all the stuff is due Sunday. And I had a birthday to go to that Tuesday, in which I had to spend the whole day there. I mean, it was just difficult to find time during this week. But let's just talk about what are you doing. In week 1, there is a nice thing about this class. In each week, there's an intro video. It's like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. And it's just the teacher guy, and he's like, hey, this is what we're doing. You're gonna have fun. It's an interesting week. And he talks about your assignments a little bit. Quick video, get you through it and show you what this week is gonna be all about. Pretty much it. There are office hours. I never utilize them because time, I think they happen on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, I'm not really sure. All of the lectures were pre-recorded. So the readings, so you're given like an entire list of chapters to read in the online textbook. I'm looking at it right here, the chapters list. In week 1, you're given 1, 2, 10, 11, 12 chapters. And that's recommended to you to read so that you can take the reading quiz. However, the ones that have the 3 little stars next to them, those are the only ones that will have questions based on them in the quiz. So just read those. You don't even have to read the others. That's that. So while we're talking about the reading quiz, might as well do it. The reading quiz for week 1, you're just reading, well, that's the thing. I didn't read anything this month. Whoa. It's an open book reading quiz. It's 20 questions. It's worth 8% of your overall grade. And all I did for the reading quizzes in every single week was have the quiz on one screen, have the online textbook on my other screen here on my tablet, and I just word searched the questions. It didn't really work for me too well in week 1 because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I got a 72.5 in week 1, so that really like my grade. But I found out that the other sections, it'll say lesson mythology basics, lesson the Americas. There are like thousands of words of text in those little tabs in week 1 that you could open up, and it has a whole bunch of words. So what I did then was I opened those up, copied all the text in there, put in a Word document, open up the other one, same thing, put in the Word document, and then I just, Command F and word search during the whole quiz. So you might think it's cheating, but it's an open book test. So you can read it and then spend the time looking for it, or you can just copy everything into a Word doc, have your online textbook open as well, and then word search. That's it. That is the reading quiz for pretty much every single week. The assignment for the week is called Functions of Myth. For this one, there's a 21-minute video that you can watch, and an instructor explaining like the different functions. There's the metaphysical function, the cosmological function, the sociological function, and the psychological function. I said all that right in my first take. Look at that. And then it's just like, oh, this is this function of myth that's assigned with this type of story, and that's pretty much all it is in terms of the video that's on here. But then you have to choose a media piece. It could be a movie, game, novel, whatever the heck you want, and all you have to do is write about it. You have to choose your media piece and then explain how it fits into one of those myth functions. And these are Campbell's 4 myth functions, in case you want to do some research before you get to this class or something like that. There is a list of media that you cannot use. I'll read it for you real quick. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Game of Thrones, ancient myth, religious material, any media piece that was released in the last 6 months, for spoiler reasons, media pieces that have not yet been released. So I don't know why you would write a whole paper about how this movie fits into this function when the movie hasn't even been released yet. I guess they may have had someone do it in the past and then it just didn't work out because there's nothing to really base it on. Now, what did I do? I wrote about High School Musical, because when the sociological function means people are to support the status quo, of course you're gonna think of the Status Quo song from High School Musical. And this was in the last week of November. Disney Plus had just come out 2 weeks ago, and High School Musical, the series, started up, so I was watching that, and then I had High School Musical on the brain. Status Quo. Boom. So I wrote my paper, and I got 95. And all you gotta do, it's minimum 500 words, I think. I think mine hit like 1,300 or so. Was not too bad. My overall grade for the week was an 86. That's because of that dang reading quiz. It is what it is. That's pretty much all I can say on that front. So in week 1, I spent 6 hours, 46 minutes. Not an awful lot of time, but given the fact it was Thanksgiving week, there were multiple days where I couldn't do jack, and then the days that I could got interrupted. I also worked. It was just a junky week overall. So the pretty much your assignment, your paper, whatever, as well as the test, was due on Sunday. So week 2, here we are, moving into the 2nd of December, because all this stuff was due on the 1st. So we're moving into the 2nd of December, and the 3rd, and the 4th. These days were dedicated to animation production. So I was like, okay, I have a discussion for Ham on Thursday. I'll do that before I go to work at 12:30, and that's due before midnight. Easy friggin' peasy. So I woke up at 8. I was like, 4 hours to do one discussion post. Easy peasy. I was dead wrong. So with this discussion post, you had to take the PMAI test to tell you what kind of like characteristics you have, what traits and qualities are most present in you, and then it'll take like a few minutes up to a whole day to get your results back, and then your results will also come with a PMAI book, teach you more about these characteristics, and then you get to watch a lecture explaining them, and then you have to read Campbell's Archetypes lesson to help you identify characters in your discussion, because your discussion is pretty much writing a whole nother paper. Minimum of 500 words. You're choosing a media piece. For the media piece, you're picking 5 of the 6 archetypes from Campbell's list or whatever, and then you're going to identify 5 people or characters in your story that identify with these archetypes. And you have to have the hero and you have to have the shadow. The hero is your main character. Could be a main good guy, could be a main bad guy. I would argue that Thanos is the hero of Infinity War because the majority of the story is told through his eyes. That could be up for debate, but he has the most screen time and it's his quest that he's on in that movie. I didn't write about Infinity War, but that's just something that he gets to know. And then you have to have your shadow. Your shadow is your antagonist of the film or game or book or whatever. And then there's a second part where after you've identified your 5 characters with their archetypes that are unique to them, you can't duplicate, you have to use the PMAI book and results and lecture notes that you took to then pick 2 of the characters you just talked about and identify them with which archetype they best fit with. Are they a creator, destroyer, a warrior, a ruler, innocent? There's like 12. My results, I got a 28 on the creator, a 27 in jester, and a 25 in lover. Those are my top 3. My bottom one was destroyer, so I guess it makes sense that my creator's the top one and my destroyer's the bottom one. I mean, it's just a kind of cool test and it gives you some results and it talks about how these might be aspects and traits you commonly act out and see in your life and see in yourself and stuff like that. It's interesting. It's a good character building tool, that's for sure. After finally getting all of this done, then you can fully put together your paper and submit it. Now, as you can probably tell, that's more than 4 hours of work. As I said, I got up at 8 a.m. I was like, I'll get my discussion knocked out and I'll go off to work. I had to call off work because you pretty much have to do near everything except for your reading quiz before you do this discussion that's due on Thursday. And that's my problem with this. And to top it all off, you cannot duplicate someone else's discussion topic. So like if I was writing Infinity War and then 30 minutes before I finish my paper, after I finally get all this junk done, someone else posts about Infinity War, I can't post Infinity War stuff. Now, if you post it like probably 5 minutes after someone else posts the exact topic, they can see the timestamps and be like, okay. But if it's 30 minutes, the teachers are like, you could have just seen that work, changed up some words, maybe put your own little spin on it, and then 30 minutes later submit it. So it's like you're starting to get into the gray area, which is like really kind of makes you nervous. Makes you a little stressed. You're like, oh my goodness, is someone going to take my topic? You kind of want to pick something that's not super relevant, that many people aren't thinking of. I picked Sky High because I just watched it the night before and it was fresh in my brain. It's a fun little Disney movie, got heroes, it's got villains. I figured it just kind of suits this discussion. In a 15-hour time period on Thursday, I spent 11 hours working on this. I spent 11 hours total in week 2, but I figured after my discussion post got done around 8 or so, do my discussion reply, it took near 30 minutes. I did my test, and like I said, the test pretty much the exact same as week 1. Little tabs on FSO, a whole bunch of text. Then they give you little chapters you gotta read in your online book. And I got a 95 out of the 20 questions in week 2. That was worth 8%, and the discussion was worth 14%. So it's a pretty hefty discussion. But if you put time into it and you work out all the kinks and you write well, you're gonna do good. I got a 100, and I'm not a fantastic writer. You'll be alright. Like I said, I spent 11 hours in week 2. All of the questions in weeks 1 and 2 are multiple choice. So that's great. So we're gonna move on to week 3. Week 3, when you look at it, all it says is class lecture, which is about anti-heroes, which does not help you at all in the assignment or in the test. Don't even watch it unless you're interested. So other than that, and the 0% weight readings that you have to do for your test, it just says that your test is 25 questions and your assignment is 6 questions. And here I am thinking, all the questions so far have been multiple choice, why wouldn't these be? I was like, let's just take this. So when I saw the assignment called Hero Cycle Analysis, I was like, it's just 6 questions. It's 6 questions. I'll get in there and I'll take it. Very wrong. Very, very wrong. So what happened, see, I still like to fill out a punch list. So when I was like, oh, Hero Cycle, how long should I estimate I'll spend on that? I was like, 60 minutes, that's a good guess. Turns out it took me 254 minutes because it's way more like in-depth than I anticipated. You're answering 6 questions about one of 3 stories. And it's like, pick one. So I just picked the first one. I was like, I didn't read any of this junk. I didn't prepare for any of this junk. I'm just gonna pick the first one, learn as much about it as I can, and then try to analyze it. I was talking about the Ramayana, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. And I found out for this class, Crash Course on YouTube is great. You just watch stuff. Of course, they don't go as in-depth as you need to go, but it's a good start. So there's that. So I eventually got through it. It's asking like, explain the belly of the whale part of the story you chose. Analyze this part of the hero cycle. How about this part of the hero cycle? And there's just a lot you need to go into, in which it didn't really warn me about, because it says 6 questions on FSO. And I was like, it's just a little baby test. Maybe over the lecture of anti-heroes. That's why I spent an hour watching it. But no, I can't really tell you all too much. It's just like, there's questions and you gotta answer them. So once again with the test, I'm not gonna keep saying it. It's copy, word search. You'll be alright. Week 3, I spent 7 hours and 6 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna go and move into week 4. This has been a really boring video for me. I don't know if you guys are getting anything out of this, because honestly, I don't remember jack from this class except for the thing I wrote about in week 4. I got nothing. This was a very boring class. Okay, week 4, the exact same intro video, some lessons where it's like, read all this. I think this was the week with like 37,000 words of things to read before you take your test, because I copy all the words and I put it in a Word doc so it gives you the word count. It was like 37,000 words. I was like, I am not reading all that. Command F. In this week you have your discussion, which is due on the Thursday, and you have the reading test. And then there's also an extra credit opportunity as well. The discussion post is due Thursday, and everything else is due that Sunday. Let us talk about it. The discussion post was really cool because it's talking about influence and adaptation of myths. So again, like week 2, you choose a media piece and you can't duplicate, and it's the same banned list, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, all that junk. And I was like, what the heck am I gonna write about? I don't know myths all that well. I was like, okay, I would like to do Thor, but guarantee someone's gonna pick it. Someone did pick it. Aquaman, I guess I could try to learn about Atlantis and that kind of mythology, but I was like, I've only seen Aquaman the one time, and I know nothing about Atlantis. And then I came home. Bailey and Chase were watching Moana. I've seen Moana a million times, and I was like, I friggin' know the movie pretty dang well. Why not learn about Polynesian mythology and then just kind of work on that? So I did, and I found out so many friggin' awesome things about this movie, about how well Disney got Maui. They changed a few things in terms of his origin. In case you guys were wondering, Maui had 4 brothers. He was the 5th one, and his 4 brothers were named Maui as well. His mom birthed Maui 5 and then said, you're one too many mouths to feed. Put him on a raft or whatever and sent him in the ocean. And then to get his hook, he was trying to prove to his brothers he's not lazy, so he went into the underworld, met with a family member who's like half dead, half alive. Then the family member took their half-dead jawbone side and just kind of broke it off and gave it to Maui. Maui carved his fish hook and then went fishing, and boom, New Zealand. He pulled land from the sea, just like in the song You're Welcome. They took some liberties with how they got Maui to be Maui in the movie, but you still ended up with the same funny, sarcastic, kind of obnoxious character. Other than that, the only other thing that they did change was Maui's death, which in the original mythology, he was stealing the heart of, like, I forget the character's name, but it was like immortality or something like that. He wanted to give immortality to all of humans, and also I believe have it for himself. So he was like, I gotta steal the heart and then we can all live forever. That didn't happen because he went inside the body of this really big person or whatever to steal the heart. While they were sleeping, they woke up as he had the heart, he was about to crawl out the mouth, and then they just chomped and he died. Instead, for the movie, he had the heart, he was sailing away, but then Tafiti just punched him out of the air, seeming like he died for 1,000 years because no one could find him, no one knew if he was even alive, he lost his hook. So it's like, same concept, except they kept him alive in the movie, which I just really, I loved learning more about this movie. I love Moana. So I was really happy about writing about this. There is one big complaint though that I have for all of these discussions. It's more of a me problem really, and it is that unless it's a Disney movie, I probably haven't seen it, and I don't have a gaming system. I don't play games. I don't have TV except for Netflix and Disney Plus. And I don't really read all too often. So it made it really difficult to respond and have an engaging conversation when many of the things were like The Legend of Hercules, the movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, God of War, PlayStation 2. Yeah, I don't know what a lot of these things are. I don't play games. I don't know any of this junk. I'm looking through the discussion right now. So it just made it really hard to kind of connect with other people. And like I said, that's more of a me thing. I just wish that I had a bit more knowledge on that stuff. If you're like me, you don't have time for games, don't really have time for too many movies, except for like the occasional one a month or something like that, it might be hard to engage. That's all I'm trying to say. Other than that, you do your discussion, that's due Thursday, your reply is due by Sunday, and you're good. And then you do your test, and then there's an extra credit assignment, and it's 51 questions. It is every single question from all 4 tests in one extra credit test. I got a 92 on that test, which means I get 10 extra points to my lowest reading quiz, which was in week 1, which was a 72.5. It'll be an 82.5. Still not great, but it'll bump me up 10 more points. So that's good. And that's pretty much all of the assignments in the month. Right now I'm sitting at a 92.84 with the best possible grade of a 94.56, not including my 10 points going to that quiz. So really, I don't know if I'm gonna get an A+. He hasn't graded my Maui paper thing about Moana yet. I don't want to say I'm gonna get some sort of A because I'm gonna jinx it, but I feel good about what I did in week 4. That's pretty much all of the assignments for Ham. So let's talk about the teacher a little bit, tips, and in short, we'll move on to the second one. Teacher, there's really not much to say. The intro videos for the weeks they're nice. Like I said, he seems like a fun guy. Seems cool. That's pretty much it in terms of the teacher. There's near nothing to say. Tips, definitely copy the words out of the reading, open up your textbook online, and that's how you should take your test. It's gonna save you time. Unless you care about reading this, don't even sweat it. Just word search stuff. Start as soon as you can, because you've also got animation production to deal with. In that class, granted, the workload isn't terrible in that class either, but when you put 2 classes together, it always just makes it harder. Good thing is, this is the last double up class, so awesome sauce. Tip in terms of the discussion posts, try to pick something that's not really relevant and that people forget, something nostalgia related. Sky High, High School Musical. I think that's a pretty good idea, because then you don't run into the like, oh dang it, they just posted that an hour ago and I didn't check. Now they're gonna think, oh, did he cheat? I don't know. So I would recommend that. Definitely take the extra credit. Pretty easy if you paid attention to the questions you were answering in weeks 1 through 4, because they were the exact same questions. Other than that, let's move into an in short. So in short, no art in this class. That's a bummer. 11 assignments. Lectures are pretty worthless, almost. You could still watch them. You might get something more than I did out of it. I found them to be pretty useless. There's an awful lot of reading, an awful lot of writing, and I just couldn't get fired up about it, so that really stinks. There's a test each week, discussion to do in your 2nd and 4th week, that's due Thursday. Everything else for this entire class is due Sunday. Week 1, I spent 6 hours 46 minutes, week 2, 11 hours flat, week 3, 7 hours 6 minutes, and week 4, 7 hours 20 minutes, for a grand total of 32 hours and 12 minutes for the month. Not completely terrible. And that is pretty much it. Not bad, not bad. I'm let down by this class. I was really hoping we would get to draw something mythological or just do some sort of art, but I guess when it has historical in the title, my hopes should not have been that high. Definitely just not a class I was looking forward to, not a class that I would look forward to going into it again if I were to go into it again. I don't know why I would, but I wouldn't be looking forward to it. I do like mythology, I do like myths and stuff like that. It's just I wish that there was one myth a week and the lectures told that myth and then we got to do something with it. Instead, the lectures kinda, let's talk about anti-heroes today, and then it'll have nothing to do with your assignment. I guess that's where I kind of stand. I'm a little disappointed. I wish we got more out of this class than we did, but it is what it is, and that's all I can say about it. So my question for you guys this month, what is your favorite myth or mythology? I think after reading about Maui and all that. I think that's pretty cool. So, I don't know. What's your guys' opinion? Let me know. Comments down below. But that is it for this one, guys. I will see you in the very next video. I will be wearing the same shirt for fun because I don't want to get up and go change. I'm just going to sit here and record the next one. So, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. If you would, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys later.